Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I am back in the salon doing another hair tutorial. I have one of my best friends, Casey, here with me, and I'm doing a hair transformation on her. The hair that she has right now is not currently my work, so we're going to kind of transform it. And I'm going to zoom you guys in so you guys can see exactly what we're working with. As you guys can see, she has a lot of new growth right here growing in. This is all her natural color, and then it's really blonde right here on the end. And then if you look in the interior of her hair right here, you can see she has a little bit of banding where she has her natural color, and then she has like the toner that they put in there before, and then her ends as well. So I'm going to try and kind of blend that in down under here, and then up here I kind of want to blend her root into the blonde a little bit more. That way it's not such like a solid grow out, and that way it's not as blonde all over, because I feel like right now it's just too harsh of a transition from her root color to the blonde down here. So we're going to try and kind of transition that a little bit better, because it is a really pretty blonde and her natural color goes great with it, but it's just a little too much blonde right now, especially for December. So if you guys are interested on seeing what we create, then let's go ahead and get started. So since we don't want to brighten up any more of her hair, I'm using only a low light, and I'm doing 6NA and 7N from Kenra color, and this is the permanent line. The reason I'm using permanent over her blonde is just because I know that Demi is going to fade way too fast, and I feel like the 6 and the 7 is going to match her natural color perfectly. So right here you'll see that the first section I'm doing is just taking a headband section, and the first two front sections I'm going to clip them out of my way so I can work on the back of her head first. So I'm going to first start at the nape of her neck, and I'm going to move my way up using horizontal sections. Now with this first foil that I'm putting in, you'll see that I'm doing a weave, and I'm going to be doing a full low light. So I'm going to take the color of the low light all the way from her roots to her ends, and while I'm doing different foils, you'll see that I kind of stagger my technique and change it as I go. So with some foils, I'm going to take the low light all the way down to the ends, and then some other foils, I'm only going to take the low light halfway down, and then some only a quarter of the way down. And the reason that I like to do this rather than doing a full low light from roots to ends all the way up the head, I don't want to take too much of the brightness away from her hair. We definitely do still want to leave some of the blonde, whereas if I do, a quarter of the way down and halfway down and then some full low lights thrown in there, it's going to just blend it all seamlessly from her root to the blonde and give it a nice transition and help soften up the blonde while still leaving it pretty bright as well. So that's what I'm going to kind of do right here. As you see, this one I left out some of the hair halfway down, so I'm just going to move in pretty small sections. I'm going to take some foils on the left side and then on the right side, and you'll see that they're pretty fine foils as well. Like, I'm not trying to rush, I'm not trying to do chunks. I like to kind of work with little baby sections. You guys know how I am. I'm very particular about my techniques and very specific about how I do that. So now on this foil right here, you can see I'm taking the low light from the roots to the ends, whereas the one underneath, I only took the low light halfway down and left out the ends. I'm just taking my time and moving my way up the head. I'm going from the left side to the right side and kind of ping-ponging back and forth up until we get to the very top of the head. So now that we've gotten to the sides of her head, as you guys can see, I sectioned out her front hairline, and that's because I want it to be super bright in the front and kind of seamlessly blend its way out near the back. And so I'm going to move in horizontal sections as I was in the back of her head, except now going up the sides. And once we get to that mohawk section, I'm going to stop doing horizontal, and then I'm going to move on to the mohawk section, but that will be in just a little bit. Now we're on to the mohawk section, and we're starting on the back of the mohawk and working our way up near the front of her face with the mohawk. Now the reason I chose to do a mohawk is so that way when she lays her hair in different directions, so whether she parts it on the left side, the right side, or in the middle, it's going to be even color all around. It's not going to be darker on one side and lighter on the other, and vice versa. It's going to be even, and it's going to look nice no matter where she parts it. So now we're just doing the exact same thing we did with the horizontal foils, and some of them are going to go all the way down to the end. Some of them are only going to go down halfway. So the last two foils that I'm putting in her hair are going to be very, very small baby fine weaves. As you guys can see, they're teeny tiny, just because I want to leave as much brightness as I can near the face, but still break up some of that blonde and brown and give it some dimension. So I'm only taking that low light halfway down the hair, and then the next foil that I put in front of this one is only going to be put down a quarter of the way down. And then as I did with the side sections, I left a little bit of the hairline out, just as I'm doing with this one as well. I'm going to leave some of the hairline out once we get closer to the front of her face. Now I'm going to use my favorite toners, which are Redken Shades EQ. I'm using 8N and 9GB, and the reason I'm using warmer tones is to kind of counteract the ashier tones that we already had in there, and then the ashier tones that were more inside of the low light color, the 6NA and the 7N. And the reason I put the low light color to have an ash in there is because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to turn orange on her hair, and so with the 9GB and the 8N, it's going to kind of even everything out and kind of tone it down a little bit more. So this is the after to the transformation that we did. As you guys can see how seamless her root now blends into the blonde and how much more it's toned down, but at the same time she still has that nice buttery blonde color. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys do enjoy these transformations, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!